Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the C-Man, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the C-Man's Cinema. Sit down. As you can see, I am fresh out the theater at the AMC in Port Chester, New York. It's been a while since I've been here, or just at the movies in general, man. I've been running around doing all sorts of things. I've been trying to get this Gray Man video. That's the thing I've been working on the most. I've been trying to get this Gray Man video up. By the way, I don't know if I've had a video where I've actually said out loud, but thank you to everyone who watched the Black Panther Wakanda trailer reaction. My God, I mean, we're up over 1,000. I was bumped about 1,500 subscribers. We're almost 26 now. 75K on that video. The love and support has been unbelievable, and that was a really good boost leading me into a little off run. While I've been trying to get this Gray Man video finished, I went down to AC with my boys for 4 nights, or 3 days, 4 days, 3 nights, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We left Monday. Went down there to see Phish, though. Phish was on the beach, literally on the beach playing, and we were jamming in the sand. It was great. It was definitely a break that I needed, and unfortunately, when we got to the Trop, I saw the poster for this movie, and I was like, oh, shoot, I was supposed to see an early access screening on Tuesday, and I forgot about that, and then didn't get a chance to do it in AC, so after my recoup day yesterday, I said, you know what, I'm just enjoying an off day before going back to work tomorrow. Let's go to the movies and check this one out, because I'm a David Leitch fan, and I'm a Bradd Pitt fan, and the idea of the two of them together working on an action movie on a train, yeah, I was here for all of these things. What am I talking about? Why don't you pull up a chair, take a seat, we are getting ready to dive in, fresh out the theater, and spoiler-free, into Bullet Train. And I gotta say, man, I enjoyed the heck out of this movie, man. This thing is entertaining start to finish. A couple nitpicky things for me. It was a little too long. The pacing is not great, specifically in the second and third act of the movie. There are just times where I'm I feel like there should be an action beat here, or we should just trim some of this out. The movie ran just over 2 hours, which isn't terrible, but I think it would have been perfection at 90 or 100 minutes. So the pacing just being a little off. This movie is actually very, very dialogue driven. I was watching it at times, Leitch has a very large cast, and a very large cast with a lot of interesting names, so I had to write them all down so I didn't forget them. But he uses them kind of like chapters, and there's a lot of witty, fast, fun dialogue in here. Writer Zach Olekowitz, I think, delivers some really outstanding dialogue throughout the course of the film. And while I was watching, I was kind of this feels like David Leitch doing a Tarantino thing. It was more bloody and gory than I had expected or seen in previous Leitch movies. And I kind of liked that. I just didn't think that him and Olkowitz always juggled the dialogue and the action and the humor perfectly. Where, like I said, that second, third act, there are just times where you're oh man, I'm kind of dipping a little bit where I need to pick me up and I don't always get the boost I'm looking for, or I get an action sequence that I'm I wish it was just a little bit longer. But outside of that, like I said, I think the story, while it starts out pretty basic, right? This is basically a movie where you get a bunch of assassins and killers and people that are tied up and mixed up in bad stuff, put them all on one train, and have a bunch of wild stuff go down for 2 hours. And I honestly thought Olkowitz did a good job tying all of these individual stories together, how they kind of weaved in and out and played very much like a Tarantino-style flick. I thought worked quite well. It was just the pacing, and I wanted more action, because that's what I'm here for, man. David Leitch got things rolling with John Wick, kind of launched my man Chad Stahelski, who's my favorite action director in all of Hollywood. And, people always know Stahelski clearly is all about John Wick. And it's yeah, okay, sure. But Leitch was involved there. And then he did Atomic Blonde, which is very similar. And here was another movie where I was okay, here's a guy coming in, taking Bradd Pitt, throwing him some other actors you wouldn't expect to see in one of his high-octane action flicks. And this movie is high-octane and full of action. And the choreography is really great. But I was expecting a little bit more. I thought Leitch leaned in a little bit more into the big-time movie action than the tight hand-to-hand choreography, where the action for me is really kicking in the first act. A lot of the setups he has with the tight spacing inside the train is awesome. There's some really good moments in the second act. He has some surprise people pop up where you're yes, I like that moment, and I like that moment. They were quick and fun. And then the end just gets really absurd and wild and fun, and the movie never takes itself seriously, so it's easy to enjoy. I was just expecting a little bit more. But what we do get in the action realm, I think, is quite good. Seeing Pitt, seeing Brian Tyree Henry, seeing Aaron Taylor Johnson do some of the stuff that they're asked to do in this movie is so much fun. And the characters are all really, really interesting. And they all provide things for their actors that just allow them to have so much fun in this movie. I mean, you start with Bradd Pitt. His code name is Ladybug. That's one of the other things. One of the things I do like that Olkowitz and Leitch play with in the movie is the idea of luck, good luck and bad luck, and how that can kind of be mixed or blended in with fate or confused with fate. And how they play with all that in the movie is awesome, right down to Bradd Pitt's name, Ladybug, referring to good luck and things like that. And dude, Pitt is just, I mean, he's one of the greatest of all time. He's one of my all-time favorite actors. The dude is just on. Like, he is on from jump. I mean, his wit, his humor, he had a little bit of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, a little bit of that Tarantino style that he kind of had in that movie he brought to this with Ladybug, and just how he interacts. He's on the phone all the time with his handler, who I guess this might be a spoiler, but like the minute you hear her voice, you're like, oh man, that's Bradd Pitt's good friend Sandra Bullock, who tapped him for a cameo spot in her last movie that he was brilliant in. And Sandra Bullock is fantastic here too. She's a voice the majority of the movie. But they're back and forth in their banter when they're talking. I mean, Pitt is an assassin who is at a place in time where he just wants to do like snatching grabs, and he doesn't want to have violence or anything mixed up in any of that, because he's in this very zen place in life. So having this constant craziness thrown at him, and he sees all of these, physical and, violent interactions as bad luck. But how, like I said, how they play with luck, and specifically around characters like Ladybug, oh man, like there are so many times you're like, is that bad luck, Bradd Pitt? And just how he carries himself, the way he delivers it, the way he plays off everybody, his chemistry with everybody in this movie is wonderful. And like, if there's one thing that should bring you to the movie theater to see this movie, it's Bradd Pitt and his performance as Ladybug. Like I said, Sandra Bullock as the handler is great. She provides a really nice, solid support piece for Pitt, and allows him to get, a little bit deeper on what he's talking about, or more honest, you could say, with how he's going about things, even at times when he's lying and she calls him on it. But their back and forth is great. I thought she did a wonderful job there. When you're talking about the action, though, you're talking about these killers, Tangerine and Lemon, the twins, as they're called, Aaron Taylor Johnson and Brian Tyree Henry. These guys are phenomenal, man. It was so much fun. Their banter and back and forth is brilliant. Like I said, the dialogue in the movie is really strong, and the delivery from all the actors in the dialogue space is really, really excellent. And then when you throw in like what they're doing on the action side, like Aaron Taylor Johnson, you can expect it. He's Quicksilver. He's been in the Marvel movies. He's been in other things. He's about to be friggin' Kraven the Hunter, right? So like, you're not shocked by him, and his stuff is stellar, man. Some of the back and forth he has with Pitt are great. But Brian Tyree Henry, what a surprise. We saw a little bit of it in the trailer when he had that back and forth at the table. But you put him into these choreographed sequences in the first and second acts, man, he's fantastic. And how they utilize those characters to both like go against each other, then team up and move around, how they're moving all of the characters on the train as it's just moving from stop to stop is fantastic. But Johnson and Henry, absolutely brilliant. One of the things too I love, like they call the twins, but I also like the fact that, like, because they're twins, their names are Tangerine and Lemon, they're also both three-name actors. Aaron Taylor Johnson, Brian Tyree Henry. Taylor Johnson has a hyphen, but I thought that was kind of funny too. Like, was that purposeful? Were they looking for three-name people? If they were, they got the two right guys, because they play off each other so well. They're so freaking fun, energetic. Just the charisma in this movie is off the charts, man. Everybody is just at like peak. Like, there's so many people who could just fill a room, and they're all wonderful. Joey King playing Prince. Yo, what a clever little role for her, and she just crushes, man. Like, she is just sneaky throughout the whole movie, and what's going on with her and how she's moving and how she manipulates people. Oh man, I was enjoying the living hell out of Joey King, and ultimately I love what happens with her character. Like, that's one of the things I love about the movie. It's just about everything that happens to every single character feels like it's earned and feels like the right thing to happen for each character, which doesn't happen a lot in these big-time action movies. But I thought Joey King was awesome. Andrew Koji and Hiroyuki Sanada, legend, they play Kimura and the Elder. The Elder is the father to Kimura. How their story plays in, I won't say anything about, but both are great. Smaller roles. I thought Koji has a lot of stewing to do, and he does it quite well. And Sonata comes in and just does what you would expect from Sonata. So that stuff's good. There are a couple like short, little, tiny roles in here that maybe could have been areas where you could have expanded, given a little bit more. But Bad Bunny and Zazie Beetz playing the Wolf and the Hornet, really enjoyed where they popped up. My girl Karen Fukuhara is in this thing. I think she was underutilized because she doesn't really get no action, but she plays one of the concession cart girls. Every time she pops up, just makes me smile because I love her so much. Michael Shannon pops up in this movie, and he was actually one of my issues on the acting side. I think everybody, for the most part, is doing great stuff. I think Shannon's doing an all right thing, but the accent was an issue for me. I didn't mind the character. I like what he does with the character and how he carries himself, but I didn't think his accent was very good. There's one other person I won't mention. We'll save that as like the cameo piece in this movie. There's two. There are two cameo spots in this movie that I won't spoil. Both of whom are friends of Bradd Pitt, and both of whom, when they pop up, just bring smiles to your face. And like I said, this movie was surprisingly funny. Like, the dialogue is really witty. The delivery from all of the actors that we just talked about is spectacular. And overall, I think this thing is wildly entertaining. So let's get the Sea Maniacs up. Like I said, movie is entertaining start to finish. You want to turn your brain off for 2 hours, kick your feet up, and just enjoy a feast of acting and action and visuals. I mean, there's a lot of stunning visuals in here as we move all throughout Japan. But like, if you're down for like something like that, this is perfect for that. You know, you can just turn your brain off, have a good time. David Leitch does what he does. The action, I think, is probably the strongest from a choreography standpoint in like the first and early second acts. Third act, you get really big, insane action. There was a moment with Pitt where I was like, I can't believe that this is real, but this movie isn't taking itself seriously, so I can enjoy that, and that's a big win. Even if the pacing is a little off at times, movie probably could have been a little bit tighter, and the balance between action, humor, and dialogue in the third act, I think, could have been handled a little bit better. But overall, I think Leitch did what he set out to do, and he made a very entertaining film. Olkowitz, who writes here, the dialogue, like I said, sharp. It reminded me at times of a Tarantino movie, maybe a B-level Tarantino movie, but like there were times where the back and forth I was like, I'm digging this, and all these characters are really, really interesting. The performances across the board are spectacular, led by Pitt, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Brian Tyree Henry, and Joey King. Those four really carry the movie. Where it goes, the twists and turns, I had fun, man. So look, this movie's not perfect. I could have used a little bit more action in certain moments, a little bit more choreography maybe over the big action, because that's what I like from Leitch. But overall, I mean, this movie weaves a lot of storylines together, a lot of surprises, some twists. Make sure you stay all the way through to the end, because there's a little couple extra drops as you're going through the credits. But this thing's wildly entertaining. I had a really good time. Pretty much everybody that's in it is having a good time, and you're just enjoying watching them doing what they're doing. I gotta go 3 out of 5 on this one, man. If the action was exactly what I was hoping for, this probably would have been a 4. But I was a little underwhelmed on the back end. But what we do get throughout, right? Like, take expectations away or whatever. Maybe you guys aren't thinking the way I do. Like I said, I think this movie is wildly entertaining. The action is fun. The cast is fun. You know, the movie has just these moments where it just loses its momentum, and it kind of loses a little bit of the steam in the story and where the story is going in the third act, where maybe you tighten it up, this thing would have been spectacular. But for me, I had a real good time at the movies today on my off day, enjoying Bullet Train. So 3 out of 5 Sea Maniacs for the Seaman. That's all we got. I want to know what you're thinking. Did you get to go see Bullet Train this weekend? What'd you think of the movie? Don't spoil anything, but who popped for you? There are a ton of characters in here. Like I said, Pitt. The main 4, I think, are really the big carriers, but you get some really wonderful pop moments from people like Zazie Beetz and Bad Bunny. So what were you thinking there? What'd you think of Leitch's action? Was it everything you were looking for? Was it what you weren't? Were there surprises, things that caught you off guard? Keep it spoiler-free, but let me know everything you're thinking. If you've seen the movie, if you haven't, have we enticed you to want to see it? Is an action flick up your realm? Do you love you some Bradd Pitt and some good acting? Well, hey, anything you got, man. Good, bad, indifferent on Bullet Train down below in the comments section. Look forward to talking to you down there. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, you want to come hang out with see me anytime we're talking movies, TV, trailer, reactions. You want to see if I ever get some of these videos I've been working on up. You just want to show a little love, support. I've been getting a ton of it. Thank you again for everybody that's followed recently. I'm going to cook up something special to celebrate 2,500 subs. That was a big deal for me. But hey, you want to join this party that we call C-Maniac Nation? You haven't yet? You want to show a little love, support? Hey, jump over there, man. Hit the subscribe button. Hit that little bell if you want those alerts. And until next time, for the C-Man Cinema Sit Down, I've been the C-Man. I'm signing off. Peace.
Oh, hey, what's going on? You must be sticking around because you're looking for more content featuring this guy. Well, guess what? You're in the right place. You can check out more videos right here and right here. And if you have and you want to come join that C-Maniac Nation, you can hit that subscribe right over there.